Welcome to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten. Hi, I'm Wendy. After I graduated with my master's in wellness management, I started my own company, T2 Coaching, Health, Fitness, and Sport. And I'm Kirsten, an athlete, vegan, life coach, and girl mom, running a business focused on helping others create a life they love. We are here to explore all things wellness to help you become the person you've always wanted to be. So if that's why you're here, open your ears and your mind as we tackle the world of wellness together.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Kirsten. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good.
We're laughing because we're both like trying. I'm trying something different with my camera because my computer camera seems to be really bad. And I always feel like I look blurry and dark. So,
And you never do on my end. And I think you're using your phone, and I wouldn't want to do this on my phone.
yeah. So
There's
I'm
just
just
certain things that I don't like to do on my phone. And some people only do their phone. And I'm like, ew.
right. Well, do I sound the same as normal?
I mean, I'd have to go back and compare, but so yes, but maybe
Okay.
not. I don't,
Okay.
again,
We'll find. Hey, we'll find out, right?
I'm not doing, yeah, we'll find out.
We'll find out. All right. So, Wendy, what is your wellness win from the past week?
Okay, well, I got a few. So Monday was the coldest water in the outdoor lifetime pool. And the reason that was a wellness win is my goal when I start jumping in the outside pool in November is to be available and be able to experience the coldest water that we'll ever get during the season. And over this past weekend, we had wind chills of 0 and the air temperature was 18.
Wow.
The air temperature was 18, but the water temperature was only 40.5. But I still went in. I actually went down the slide. I had my underwater camera and I went down the slide. So that was a huge wellness win. That was fun. And I had to do it twice because the first time I had my thumb over my camera lens and I'm like, it doesn't count. I got to do it again. And so again, for me, like, this is the reason I do it. Like, this is the goal. And then Monday, when I came in, I coached Masters 6 to 7 a.m. The water temperature was 38.9. And when I was done coaching Masters, it was 38.7. And so I did my cannonball. I tried to cannonball off the block, but I was anticipating the cold water, so I didn't really have it tuck, but I did it. And then I knew it was going to get warm here in Georgia. And so, like, I feel like I did it. I nailed it again this year. And people don't understand that, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
And then my second wellness win was my friend Ann and I met today, Kennesaw Mountain. We haven't met, and this is the first time this year, so we probably haven't met in like 3 months at Kennesaw Mountain due to the closure of the government and then just due to weather and stuff. And they're doing a lot of construction. The construction prevented us from meeting, and we got to meet today. And we decided we want to make this a weekly habit again, like we used to. So that was exciting to catch up with her.
Yeah, that is such a wellness win especially like you guys did that all the time. And so to take some time off,
yeah,
and sometimes you don't realize you missed that until you come back and you're like, oh, wait, this was really important.
Yes, exactly.
I want to keep doing this. My wellness win, I did a swim meet and it was so hard. I'm not used to doing 50s and 100s, and that's my body just isn't used to doing that. And I trained all month, the whole month of January. My friend Kat and I, we did time trials, we did 50s off the blocks, stuff like that, but still didn't. By the time I got to the swim meet, my first event was 500 free, and it was okay. My second event was 50 breaststroke. I did really well. My third event, 100 breaststroke, did well. But by my fourth event of the warm-up started at 8 a.m. And by the time my fourth event went, it was 1:30 p.m. So I know. And so I'm not used to like working hard. And I did a warm down and a warm up before and after each event, but it's still like by the time my last event came was 200 breast, and I dove in and I was automatically like, my heart rate was maxed out. I was like dying. I even missed a pull out on my fifth 25. I
Wow.
pushed off the wall and I'm like, I don't have enough breath for a pull out. It was such a rookie move. But it was still so much fun, and it definitely made me want to do more swim meets and challenge my body in such a different way.
Good.
And if you guys are like, oh, but you're a swimmer, why would that be hard? That's like being a marathoner and going to a track meet, and your events are the 100, the 200, the 300, and the 400, or the 400 and the 800. It's just a totally different energy system and a way of moving your body. And it was very, very challenging, but very fun.
And you're competitive and you're maxed out. I mean, it's all relative to how you approach the race. Some people could have just approached the race. I'm just going to casually swim a 200 breaststroke. You're approaching the race like, I'm going to bust it as hard as I can.
Right.
And that's, I think, important for me to always mention to athletes is you can go as hard as you want. You know, like you control your effort. So you can control your effort and make it as hard as it is.
Right. And I wanted to make it as hard as I possibly could.
Uh-huh.
So I wanted to, and I put my time, my seed times, my entry times. I put the times I got at my last swim meet, which was 9 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And not thinking until after I already registered that when I did this swim meet 9 years ago, it was in California. So it was at sea level. And so like my 500, I added like 20 something seconds. And on my 200, I added like 11 seconds. But amazingly enough, my 50, I took off 2 seconds, and my 100, I took off 2 seconds.
So are you a registered USA Swimming Masters swimmer?
Yeah.
Are you a registered USA Masters swim team that you coach?
Yes.
Okay. I'm in the process of wanting to do that. I just haven't looked into it yet.
Yeah, all you have to do is, it's really easy. You pay $75 and you enter your team as a practice team, and you register under your, like ours is called, it's US Masters, and you do your region, and then you do, like we just registered as Lifetime.
Did Lifetime pay for it?
No. Okay. But we didn't ask.
Did Lifetime pay for, is Lifetime paying for it to be a USA sanctioned master swim team?
No.
That was, you did it.
Yeah. I didn't. The other coach, the coach of the Flatirons Lifetime, he paid for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but I don't think he asked Lifetime to pay for it.
Right.
I feel like if we asked, then they would do it, but we didn't ask. We just wanted to get it done and we had six of us went to the meet.
Okay. Nice.
From 2 different Lifetimes.
Nice.
So you guys, it is Valentine's Day. It's the season of love. So Wendy and I wanted to talk a little bit about different types of, self-love, friendship love, romantic love, different things about love, as it relates to wellness, and how loving yourself, taking care of yourself, all that stuff, how it helps us with our health, our overall wellness, longevity, and stuff like that. And so I was thinking about kind of what we were going to talk about, and how relationships directly affect our health. And that could be friendships, partners, family, your whole community, people that you're connecting with. It doesn't have to be necessarily a romantic relationship. But one of the things I thought was really interesting is that my daughter, every year at school, I mean, I say every year, she's only in 2nd grade, but the last 2 years at school, they had Valentine's parties. So the week of Valentine's Day, they always had a Valentine's party, and you bring Valentines for all the people in the school, and you do a craft, and you eat Valentine-shaped cookies or heart-shaped cookies or whatever. And this year, they're calling it a friendship party. And so when the teacher sent out the email about who's going to bring what times it's at, what time the parents go, how many Valentines you need for the class. They called it a friendship party. So I thought that was really interesting because my whole life growing up, it was always Valentine's Day, and it was all, it was you're giving your friends Valentines. So that's kind of like friendship. But I thought it was interesting that they're calling it a friendship party now.
That is interesting. I just remember, like, I think back in the day when we were young, you had to make Valentines for like all your classmates, and the boys, and having to do it with the boys, and then there's probably some boys you had a crush on versus other boys,
Right.
and it could have been a little anxiety driven to give a Valentine to maybe someone you didn't like. And I think in elementary school, my perception is you didn't know you weren't supposed to like kids. Like, to me, in elementary school, everyone liked each other. And it's really, really when you get to junior high and high school where you started having the cliques. And,
Right.
The burnout clique, the athletic clique, the drug clique was probably the burnout clique, but just the popular clique. There was just a lot of cliques. So I do miss those hearts and Valentine's Day treats that we used to get on Valentine's Day in elementary school. That was fun.
Yeah. So I thought it was interesting that they're calling it the friendship day instead of Valentine's Day. So I didn't know if that's like a common thing now. So if your kids do that at their school, or I would love to hear about that because I only know what's going on in my daughter's school.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is a good, what do you think about Valentine's Day? Is it something that's important to you? Do you remember any Valentine's Day, like stories that really stand out?
Valentine's Day is not important to me. Again, the Hallmark holiday. It's not something that I remember or currently say, oh, I have to make it a date night with my boyfriend or my current husband. I think maybe when I was not married, when I was dating, or if I was ever dating anyone during that holiday, if you call it a holiday, it probably was a bigger deal. But now that I've been married, it's not like Don and I do anything. I'm actually going to be at a swim meet, and some of my kids aren't going to the swim meet because they're in high school. They're that high school age where they have date, and it's a bigger deal. And I'm like, I'm like, why didn't you want to go? Like, I didn't even click with me. Oh, I'm at a swim meet during Valentine's Day. So I don't do like gifts. We don't give cards. We don't do anything like that. And then I think, one thing about me and my husband is we don't need a holiday to give each other stuff. Or we don't need a holiday to celebrate each other's love for each other. It's always there 24/7.
Yeah, when I was married, that's what my husband would always say. He's like, if you need one day to show how much you love your spouse, then you're doing it all wrong.
Right. Absolutely. Like, I mean, I'll probably be the one to say Happy Valentine's Day because it was brought to my attention that I have a swim meet on Valentine's Day. And then I'll be like, see you later. Like, it'll just be a fun. What I like to do is say Happy Valentine's Day because that was a Friends episode. When Janice and Chandler, for those who watch Friends, there's a big Friends episode where Janice has that voice and she wishes Chandler, who hated her, or so he said, that's how she says Happy Valentine's Day. So when I say that to Dawn in that voice, I'll probably come home and say, let's watch that episode of Friends.
Right. That's fun.
Yeah, so I guess that's kind of a funny tradition, that language and that voice from Chandler and Janice.
Right. One thing I remember when Rick and I were married, we used to go to the Taj Mahal like 3 or 4 times a week. It was this local Indian restaurant in Fort Collins, and we would go all the time. Sometimes I would eat there for lunch, the lunch buffet twice a week, and we'd go to dinner twice a week, and we were just there all the time. So one Valentine's Day, we were like, and I used to be a waitress, so I know how busy Valentine's Day is at restaurants. And we would take reservations for like weeks ahead of time. Well, Rick and I were like, not, we didn't even think about it was Valentine's Day until like that day. And we're like, oh, do you want to go out to dinner? So we're like, oh, let's go to Taj. Like, just not even thinking. So we show up, there's like an hour wait.
Mm-hmm.
But we were like, we're friends with the owners and we'd been going there for years and years, like several times a week. And so they're like, oh, it's like an hour wait. And we're like, oh man, like we were really hungry. And so we're like, should we wait? And the owner, well, it's not the owner, but the manager at the time, he's part owner. He goes, hold on a minute. He went downstairs into the storage and came upstairs with a table and 2 chairs. And he set it up literally in the middle of the restaurant for me and Rick.
Oh, that's so nice.
Isn't that hilarious?
You know, I think holidays are good excuses to do stuff like that.
Right.
Oh, it's Valentine's Day. Oh, it's her birthday. Even though I was about to jump on her ass about something, I'm not going to because it's her birthday today. I'll hold back today.
Right.
You know? So as you were describing that, I was thinking, you know, women in general, some women like to get treats, you know, chocolates, diamonds, and flowers on like a Valentine's Day. And if my husband gave me flowers, I'd be like, what a waste of money. I'm not going to take care of them. I don't want these flowers. Don't give me diamonds because I'm going to lose them. Don't give me diamonds. Don't give me a Hallmark card because I'm just going to throw it in the trash. So don't get me anything for Valentine's Day. Don't make me chocolate because I probably won't eat it unless it's like a dark chocolate because I'm not a chocolate person.
Yeah, that's I'm the same way. None of those gifts appealed to me at all. So back in the day, like 5 to 20 years ago. So from like 2005 until like 5 years ago, I was a passion parties consultant. And this was a really busy time of year because we sold adult sensual products. And I always had people wanting to buy stuff for Valentine's Day, wanting to have parties for Valentine's Day. Even like the single ladies would have like a Galentine's Day and like get together with all their girlfriends and have parties. So I would make in like from mid-January to mid-February, I would make like half my annual income. Like that, I would sometimes go do parties and make like $1,000 or $2,000 in one party.
Yeah.
Like that's how much I would profit from Valentine's Day. So for those 15 years that I did passion parties, Valentine's Day was a really big deal to me because it was a huge part of my business.
Yeah.
So, well, what we wanted to talk about was more like, I was thinking of 3 categories that really pertain to overall health and wellness and go along with what Wendy and I typically talk about on the podcast. The first one is self-love, love for yourself. Because Valentine's Day, I'll be honest, I have no idea what it really is. I've heard it's like some big massacre of something, like some like awful thing going on so I don't really know what Valentine's Day is or why to celebrate it, but in general, we think about love. We think about celebrating the things we love, the people we love. So I was thinking, you know, the things that pertain to our health are love of ourself. So self-love, and we could talk about a little bit about that, love for others, loving other people. And then I was thinking love for your future self. And I feel like the more love you have for your future self, the smarter decisions you're going to make today. So, and I was just thinking of this because like my 2 New Year's resolutions this year have to do with sleep and finances. And those are both things that I'm working really hard on that I don't get any immediate benefit on. Like paying extra and working more and paying more on my car. I'm not like, oh, it's just harder. I'm working more and I'm not spending as much money. So in the moment, that's challenging and difficult. Going to bed at the same time every day and not getting all my stuff done, that's really challenging and difficult. But I have such a love for my future self in my future life, that it makes those things worthwhile. So I was thinking we can start love for ourselves. And again, we've talked about this a lot, but Wendy, what are some simple things that people can do to show themselves self-love?
Well, before I go into that, maybe that goes into that. I thought of our functional February
Mm-hmm.
challenge, if you want to call it a challenge, that we're doing for our future selves. I think younger adults, athletes need to understand the importance of functional training for the longevity and for their future selves. So that's a good reason why we're doing that challenge today. So
Yes.
I think self love is giving yourself time to take care of yourself, because the more you take care of yourself, nutrition, fueling, sleep, stress management, the variety of wellness things you could do to take care of yourself, you're more likely to do a better job taking care of others. I think there's a lot of women and men who will put others people first, and that leads to poor sleep, poor nutrition, poor stress, poor just self-management care. And if it's a 1 day a year that you take care of yourself, that's better than 0 times a year to take care of yourself. I think for me, when I hear people talking generally about how training for triathlon, training for an Ironman is selfish. Why would you even say that? And even if it is selfish, why is that bad? Because a lot of people, men and women, will do a certain training for a certain event to better their well-being and take care of themselves. And so,
Right.
selfish or not, I think selfish tends to be a negative word. Like, I kind of proposed it as negative, and at the same time, it's very positive if you can spend some time in your day to be selfish, to take care of yourself, whatever that means to you to take care of yourself. Sometimes, again, specifically for women, it means getting their hair done, spending the day at the spa, hair, nails, and makeup. That's great. That's taking care of yourself. For others, people like you and me, it's saying, I'm going to go and do this big workout, or small, because I need to take care of myself. I think taking care of yourself helps just the mental and physical aspect of life, and that's really important.
Yeah. And I agree. And again, Wendy and I always mention sleep, nutrition, and exercise. So I wanted to add, because I did make a little list of some simple things, but they're all the things Wendy and I always talk about. Um, when you're tired, rest. When you're tired, go to sleep. When you're sick, oh, my friend Kat, we swam this morning. She shows up. She's like coughing up phlegm. Her nose hurts. She's like, I'm so sick. I can't. And she swam, which I would have too if I was sick, because I feel like when I swim, it kind of clears stuff out. But I said, Kat, and she didn't have to work until 1, and we met at 7 o'clock to swim. And I said, Kat, go home, take a nap. She's like, oh, but I should do that. Nope, go home, take a nap. So if you're sick, sleep. If you're tired, sleep. If you need to rest, rest. And then eating in a way that's nourishing, which Wendy and I always talk about. And then for the exercise part, I was thinking, because I hear this a lot, and I'm sure you do too, from like personal training clients and just people like, I have to work out because I ate this pizza, or like they use working out as a punishment, or as, a way to like re redo they ate too many calories, so they have to burn it off, or I didn't get my workout in yesterday, so I have to do double today. Like, a lot of people use exercise more of a punishment. So thinking of exercising as loving yourself and taking care of yourself instead of exercise as punishment. And then the fourth one, that isn't something we always talk about, but we have talked about it quite a bit, is speaking to yourself in a way that is loving. Speak to yourself like you would your best friend. Speak to yourself like you would your child. And just saying loving things to yourself, to me, is just as important as sleeping, eating well, and exercising.
Yeah, I think it's even more important is the mindset and speaking lovingly to yourself. So a few little things I wanted to jump in there. I coach a male athlete who loves to train but sometimes he overdoes it and I question it. I'm like, why did you do 4 hours? I only have 2 scheduled. He's like, well, I ate too much for lunch. And this is an athlete I know. I've coached him. I've met him in person. I've coached him at training camps, and I know he can eat a lot of food. And that used to bother me. Like, that's not why you should be training more. But at the same time, he performs well and everything's good. And I'm glad he fuels his body enough to be able to put in the training volume that he does.
Right.
Number two, I know some coaches, especially when they're coaching youth activities like swimming, is they use exercise for punishment. Like, if you don't do, or
You
if
have to do
you,
100 butterfly.
yeah, or a push-ups. Like, if you mess up this set or don't pay attention or are talking when I'm talking, you have to get out and do X amount of squats or push-ups. And that I don't believe in that, because I think that sets the wrong tone, using exercise as punishment, especially as you're developing as a youth athlete. You don't want to hate exercise because someone made you do too much of something that you didn't want to do in place of the stuff that you were enjoying. And so I'm just not a fan of that. And I always tell my assistant coaches I'm not a fan of that. And I see them do it and it really bothers me. And even though the kids sometimes can look like they're enjoying it, done in excess is just the wrong thing to do.
Right.
So yeah,
I agree with that.
you should get to go to the gym and work out. You should get to go do something active because your schedule allows you to, and it is a benefit, and not everyone gets to do that activity that you're about to go do. So enjoy it while you're in the moment.
Yeah, I've had people wall sit. I've had people that, like, I'll personal train. I'm like, okay, we're going to do a wall sit. And they're like, oh, I hate those because in gym class, whenever we got in trouble, we had to wall sit. And so they have an aversion to certain exercises because they were used as punishment growing up. So I'm the same way. I don't want anyone to think of any exercises as negative or punishment. So yeah, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Um, I just found this quote. It's kind of what you said at the very beginning when we talked about loving ourselves, and it just said, longevity isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about choosing yourself over and over again. And
Uh,
that's not selfish. That's choosing yourself over and over again to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And that's what self-love is.
mm-hmm.
So the next category I was thinking of is loving other people. And that could be intimacy, like an intimate relationship, a spouse, a partner. It could be a best friend. It could be a community. It could be a group with a common interest. Like when I do my animal rights stuff, we all have a common interest in of taking care and loving and supporting and not harming animals. So those type of communities with a common interest, there could be a lot of amazing love for each other there because you have such core common philosophies in on life. So how would you say those type of relationships that you have with loving other people and other people loving you, how those contribute to overall health?
Well, I think when you have that support and the acknowledgement that you matter in life, because whether some people have depression and that's just a chemical imbalance and they never really overcome that. And most of us don't, but we do battle some sort of depressive states throughout our days or weeks or lives. And having that person that's really close to you that you can reach out and talk to, that is just going to listen and be there for your support, is really helpful for that, again, that stress management and just that ability to still want to live and survive and take care of yourself is really important. And then there's also those relationships that you may have to set those boundaries for your own personal self-love and say, I know this person is going to approach me or say something that I know I need to be ready to set this boundary and not let them be within the space I'm trying to prevent them to get into. That's all about self-love. So just understanding where your friends, who your friends are. I think as we age, our friend dynamic and capacity gets smaller and smaller. And we just know over having experiences who our real friends are and who the acquaintances are as you get older. And it's okay to have a small list of friends that you just know will be there for you at any moment. And I have two really good ones here in Georgia that I'm very grateful for, because that was the hardest thing about moving out of Colorado, is losing all my friends. But just having these two is so meaningful to me. I don't need any more.
Right. Yeah, and that's true. I always my mom, she struggles with um like she struggles with making herself a priority. She makes all her friends a priority. And so one of the things that I kind of think about, that I taught her about, is having this sounds super high schoolish, but it really helps when you're working on self-love and self-priorities, is like having top tier friends, and then middle tier friends, and then bottom tier friends. And it doesn't make them less of a person, but like if if you're trying to go to the gym at noon and one of your top tier friends needs you, that's different than if your bottom tier friend needs you. You could tell them, like, I'll call you in an hour. Whereas if it's one of your like best friends, and you know that that's a top priority, that's a higher priority, then you might be like, okay, I'll answer this call. So but I do agree that um as we get older, for me, I feel like my good friends provide me with what I need for myself, and I provide them with what they need. And so there's a two-way street. And so, like, if I'm talking to somebody and I am exhausted after talking to them, to me, that's not an even exchange of energy. So that's not going to be one of my top friends, one of my best friends, one of my closest friends, because I need someone and I want them to feel the same way. If I have somebody in my life and when they get finished talking to me, they're exhausted and I'm getting all their energy, I want them to say, or I want them to spend less time with me, because I wouldn't want somebody else to have that either. So I feel like to have an even exchange of energy where you're both helping each other in whatever way is really important. And as we get older, those ones that are sucking our energy, there's a book I read called like The Energy Vampires or something, and it's about people in your life who suck your energy and how you have to put boundaries there. Those people fall away because as we get older, I think we're less tolerant in general. That's me. But I feel like other older women and people I've seen on social media that are older, like there's a whole movement of the like, I don't give a crap club once you hit a certain age. And people are like, I used to wear makeup and then now I don't give a crap. I leave the house. Like I don't even brush my hair anymore. So I know it's not just me. But definitely we have a lower tolerance for people who don't help us feel loved, help build us up, and hopefully we do the same for them.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Yeah. So make sure that you guys, some simple things is make sure the people who are important to you, friendships, relationships, that you let them know that. And the people who you don't want to spend as much time with for whatever reason, they just don't make you feel good about yourself. Maybe you feel like they're taking a lot of your energy or time without you getting anything back from it. Maybe those are people that you just don't make the time for as much, and you get to choose. um One thing that I was thinking about with relationships that we didn't mention is um being able to receive. I know a lot of people, I know I'm this way, I know a lot of women are this way, is we like to give a lot. And I think it's really important in your relationships that you allow yourself to not only receive, but actually ask for help if you need or want help, because then that gives other people an opportunity to give, and giving does feel really good.
I agree 100%. I used to be the one that wouldn't accept help. And then something happened and I told myself I will never turn down.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I told myself that, and I like to make commitments to myself for my own personal well-being. And that's one of them. Like sometimes someone will offer help for something that I don't need help for at all, but I'll take it because I know that person is offering it and it's genuine because it's their choice to offer it. They didn't have to. So I want to make sure I reciprocate the receival end and help them with their well-being of being happy to support me and offering me help. And then I'm supporting them by taking their help.
Yeah, exactly. So again, two-way street. And yeah, it's all creates balance.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be like a instant transaction, like here, I'm going to help you and then you help me in return.
Yeah.
But it's just over time, if you feel like the people in your life, you're helping them the same amount as they're helping you, then it ends up being that's what I think is a really good friendship and
Yeah.
relationship. So, and then we mentioned it a little bit, but was there anything else, any other things you had in your mind with loving of your future self?
No, I mean, I think again, we're in our 50s now. It's different than 40s, but I learned a lot in my 40s as a coach and as a personal trainer because I coached, when I was in my 30s and 40s, I was coaching and training older athletes and I was learning from them. I mean, I just remember people telling me, "Oh, wait till you hit 40, wait till you hit 50." And I'm like, that's not going to happen to me. But and again, I hate the word but I
Right.
I accepted them telling me this stuff because they had the experience and I fight off a lot of the stuff that they tell me was going to happen to me. But again, in my 50s, it's happening. So, um, respect your elders for your longevity, take their advice because they're going through the process or they went through the process. And I think the activity and the mobility and the functional training is so important. So as you age, you enjoy it more. I'm spending a lot more time with my mom who turns 80 this month, and she's always been active. And then she's had some surgeries, a hip replacement, and a few other surgeries that she's finally now getting back to the activity. She hasn't been that active, for like a year, and she's enjoying it and I'm not making her, but I'm offering suggestions to say, we got to do, I found this like burpee that older, you know, 60 plus aged people do a burpee, but it's a modified burpee. It just helps older athletes learn how to get off the floor. That's
Yeah.
functional. In case she falls, she knows how to safely get up if she's alone. So I'm doing some research and I'm seeing stuff on social media about different types of movements that I've never thought of to help my mom with in case it happens to her. I just think why would someone who's 80 and who's so active and so healthy now want to ruin her life by tripping and falling and not being able to get up and breaking a hip?
Yeah.
It's like we can't end aging. We're all going to age. It's just part of living. So let's prevent the aging process and overcome some things that we can control through activity and sleep and nutrition. It's so important.
Right. Yeah. In my class yesterday, we were doing dips like on the bench.
Uh-huh.
And I always tell my class, if you don't like something, do something different. If this hurts you, do something different. But by the third set, like third round, we were doing dips. A lot of people were like grabbing their dumbbell and doing more like an overhead kind of tricep thing. So I just mentioned to people that tricep dips aren't just for working your triceps. They're for teaching you to get off the floor or to push yourself up off the couch or get out of the car or off the kitchen chair without hurting yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have the wrist strength and the upper body strength to push your body off of something, then you're going to be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, yeah, it's not just when you think about exercises, it's not just to be able to do a tricep dip or get beautiful triceps or sculpted
Right.
arms or whatever. It's so that you know how to get up off the floor when you fall down on the floor.
Right.
So
Yeah,
good
exactly.
things to keep in mind. What was there anything else that you could think of that has to do with love and relationships and other stuff we've been talking about today?
No, I think we covered a lot of it.
Yeah, I do too. I think just putting out there, if you guys are like, yeah, that's all fine and good, but you know, what's an actionable step I could take? I was thinking you could just pick one of these categories that maybe you're not so great at. Maybe you're great at showing love to your friends and family and partner, but you're not as great as showing love to yourself or to your future self. And just come up with what is one thing I can do today. And maybe it could start being a Valentine's Day tradition or a February tradition, since February, you know, you see all, like Wendy said, it's a Hallmark thing. Like you start seeing cards and candy and all that. You know, what is one thing that I can do in that category I'm not so great at that I can start doing for myself on Valentine's Day? So um make sure to, maybe I'll text 20 people and let them know how much I care about them. Or maybe I can what's one small habit I can create that my future self will thank me for, or something like that. So you can start. Wendy and I, we used to do a rowing. We would row a half marathon on the rowing machine, and I think we did that 3 or 4 years, and it was awful because Wendy's butt always hurt on the rower, and I hated the word rower because I couldn't like watch my phone, and it got so boring. It was like 3 hours on the rower.
Yeah. I just, I even put like towels to sit on, and I didn't have a pad because back then I just didn't have one. I didn't think of ordering one, but I used to use like some sweat towels to try to put under my buns, and it just didn't help. And then my hamstrings would be really sore, and it was just something that wasn't loving myself at all.
I know. We thought it was going to be fun. We were trying to think of something different, like something we hadn't done for a challenge, because we had swimming challenges, running challenges, biking challenges, step mill. We had all these challenges, and we are like, oh, let's do the rower. And I think it lasted 3 years or something. And we're both like, yeah, this isn't even like anything that I even want to do.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do? What's your new Valentine's going forward? Um, Tradition.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I have no
I think
idea because I have a swim meet and my life is my life is spontaneous. I have
it
a very
is.
I have a very spontaneous personality, and I think one thing about February 14th is like most holidays, it's always a different time. It's always a different date, so I don't always have a swim meet because it's not always on a weekend.
Right.
Um, but again, it's not an important holiday for me personally to say this is my new Valentine's Day tradition off the top of
Right.
my head. I just don't know.
I just don't know. Did you have any listener questions for today?
I don't have a listener question, but I want to talk about a comment about an athlete I talked to today. So I talked to this athlete on the phone. I met her, I think, in 2018, and she's interested in coaching. So we had an hour long conversation. And part of the conversation was she is allergic to wetsuit material, rubber type material,
Neoprene.
neoprene. And the interesting part, she told me the whole story. When she started triathlon back in like 2016, 2017, maybe earlier, she's a decent swimmer, but she couldn't breathe in the water. And everyone attributed it to cold water, lack of experience, anxiety, yada, yada, yada. So she always struggled in sprints. And then she started training for an Ironman. It was I think she said it was 2019 Ironman Tempe. And it's known for cold water, mid 60s, low 60s, doable in a wetsuit, like doable in a wetsuit. And she did the practice swim and she couldn't breathe. And then she's a nurse. So she started having issues like she felt in a wetsuit, putting on certain gloves in the hospital. They did all these tests, yada, 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 and she found out she had a neoprene allergy. The reason I brought it up is never heard of it. This is the first time, but I think it's important now to bring that up in case it's impacting other athletes who are struggling with anxiety in open water. It could be due to their wetsuit. It was just something that I wanted to share because it was fascinating to me because so many adult onset swimmers can tend to struggle with breathing
Right.
and panic and anxiety. Sometimes it's lack of experience, cold water. Sometimes it is the wetsuit's not the right size. It is too constricting. They didn't practice in it beforehand. There's a lot of reasons. But now another reason could be an allergy to neoprene.
Wow. I mean, not that I've never heard of somebody being allergic to neoprene, but discovering it because they were freaking out wearing a wetsuit, I hadn't heard of that either.
Hadn't heard of that at all. Like they couldn't complete open water swimming in a wetsuit because of anxiety and breathing issues, and it was due to an allergy. So now we're looking at events like that's known for warm water, known to not be wetsuit legal, so she can be comfortable training, have an Ironman in her mind, to say, oh, like Ironman Cozumel to me comes to mind because I've done that and that's known. I don't think it's ever been wetsuit legal.
Right.
But just kind of like that's an issue for her to be able to continue doing triathlon. She has to pick events that are the water's warm enough for her to tolerate because she can't wear a wetsuit.
That is interesting and good to know.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what are you most excited for in this upcoming week?
You know what? Right now, I have 3 swim meets in a row because our swim meet last weekend was canceled and it was rescheduled for this weekend.
Oh
And
man.
then there's some changes due to it being the Super Bowl and yada yada yada. But I'm just, now that I've made this switch, I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast. I'm going to be done with youth swim coaching for a while because I'm stepping up to the master swim coach position.
Well, you
And
talked about the masters, but I didn't know you were stepping down from youth.
I'm stepping down from youth. It was offered to me to do that. I think it was wanted. We got new management. We got a new aquatics coordinator. And a lot of times when you get new management, they tend to get rid of the old staff, bring in the new staff. So I kind of have a feeling that was an intended, let's let Wendy step down from youth coaching. But offering her the masters, which is what I applied for 8 years ago. So I'm really thrilled. I don't personally don't want to do it both. It's a little much for me with, owning my business and doing other things in life. But now that I've made that mindset switch, I'm kind of like ready to be done. But I have 3 swim meets the next
I'm
3 weekends.
excited.
Yeah. So I mean, the swim meets are going to be fine. They're going to be exciting. They're going to be fun. I'm going to make the best of it.
And they're
But
your
it's
last
just,
swim. Are they
it's
your
just,
last 3 swim meets?
they're my last three swim meets. I do have one final meet of the season, which is our Northern Divisionals, which is the end of March. But I already told, so I have an assistant coach who coaches the bronze team. I already told them they're covering that meet. I will not be there. And so I was kind of hoping to possibly be done coaching the youth team by the end of February. But my manager wants me to stay till the end of the season. Short course season ends at the end of March. So I may be sticking around, but it'll be different because I know like I don't have any meets to go to. And I know this the last 2 months of my youth swimming coaching is temporary. It's going to go by. It's going to be over. And it's just going to be a new schedule for me, which I'm excited.
Yeah. So how many masters groups are you guys doing? How many like days and times?
We're doing 4 days a week, 2 mornings and 2 evenings. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I like recruited 6 people already before we even like advertised it. So my new manager is seeing my value here. I've already recruited all these people. So the program it's growing. And I think, Lifetime needs to do a better job of marketing it and advertising for it. But since they're not, I'm taking on that position. And I also have an indoor triathlon that I'm hosting in March that I'm excited about as well.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. Bringing back the indoor. Are you guys just doing one in March? Or are you going to try to do one a month? Or
we're going to do a spring equinox and a fall equinox.
Okay.
So March and September. I tried to get everyone on board about doing what I used to do. Like I used to do one in January, February, March, and April for before the outdoor season. But it's hard to get people on board and support for that. So we'll see how that goes. So, I'm just looking forward to ending my youth coaching job here at Lifetime.
Wow, that's exciting. I didn't know about that part. I just knew
Yeah.
that I knew about the master's program, but I didn't know it was in lieu of.
Yes. Yes.
Well, that's awesome. Well, congrats.
Thank you.
I am most excited about, I don't really know. We,
Same way.
it's funny because we like when we set up our podcast and over a year ago we were like, oh, let's do a wellness win, and then what we're most excited about, just to have something constant that we're just doing. And every time Wendy and I are both like, I don't know, even though we know this is what we're gonna say, like we're gonna ask each other about this and we're like, oh, I don't know. But I think kind of the same as I always say when I have a weekend without my daughter coming up. Last weekend we were really busy. We did a lot together. She wasn't feeling great, so we actually did some just chilling together. But this weekend I don't have her. I'm going to do an indoor Olympic try on Sunday with my friend Ashley. So I'm kind of excited about that, just to start doing some longer, harder training. I am doing the 5K, the park run on Saturday, and I haven't done it since New Year's Day.
Okay, that just reminded me. I could look it up, but this woman I talked to, she's a traveling nurse, and she's in Colorado right now until May as a nurse. And I told her about the park runs, and I told her I was going to ask you about those.
Okay, yeah, you can give her my number.
Okay.
And I'll send her the information. It's really awesome. If you guys do live anywhere, there's usually a park run. Like when I go to California to visit my sister, there's a park run near her in Riverside where she lives. But they're all over the world. And they're always on Saturday. They're always every Saturday at the same place at the same time. And ours here in Colorado is at the East Boulder Rec Center. And it is on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. in the winter. In the summer, they're at 8 a.m. And it's free. You do make an account on the Park Run website, and you bring a barcode. And when you're done, they scan your barcode, and that gives you your results.
Oh, nice.
So it's really simple. And again, they have them all over the world. So every time you go to one, they always ask, like, are there any tourists? So people are like, yeah, I'm from Australia. I'm from the UK. I'm from Germany. And they're always visiting all the other park runs. So it's really, really neat.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So have them reach out to me if they have any questions, and I'll definitely be there this Saturday. And I haven't done it since New Year's Day, so I'm really excited to see where my run is at. All right, you guys.
Have a
I
great
want to
time.
know if your kids' Valentine's parties now are called friendship parties. That's what I'm curious about. So let me know. Let us know in the comments. Reach out to me. Let me know, because I'm very curious about that, because that just started this year.
And one thing I'll just end it with this. The last podcast we talked about doing the step mill backwards.
Oh yeah. And did you do it?
But why did we want to do that?
Because we were seeing if it had any impact on the knees for downhill.
Oh, it didn't bother my knees at all. And it did feel more like downhill running. As I was doing it,
You couldn't remember why we were doing it?
I couldn't remember why we were doing it, but I remember I felt actually more in my quads.
Okay, yeah, that's what we were.
Makes sense because it's downhill.
Yeah, and that's what we were doing,
felt
because
like it was more of a quad workout. And part of my physical therapy, after I broke my knee and I was doing physical therapy, was walking backwards on a treadmill to get that quad strength. So that's what it felt like, walking backwards on a treadmill. So definitely different. And I'm going to do it again.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, because the reason we were going to try it, and then I totally forgot about it, was because a listener question, they had asked if cycling training could work for trail running. And so we were talking about the ways that you could work that mimic trail running without being on the trail.
Yeah, it was definitely like our treadmills only we can do some of the treadmills, we can do a downhill at 3%.
Yeah, that's what ours are too.
I've been on a treadmill where the downhill has gone more, but the reverse step mill feels like it's more of a downhill decline for sure.
So there you guys have it. Reverse step mill. It's like the escalator. You go opposite, so you're walking down as it's moving up. Wait,
yeah,
no, it's moving down and you're walking up but backwards.
yeah. That's cool. I think I'll
All right,
do
try
that.
it out.
I think the next time I go to the airport, because they have an escalator, if it's not crowded, I'll try to walk up the escalator backwards.
Backwards and see if it
Yeah.
feels the same.
Yeah.
All right. This is
I
what
like
Wendy and I
different.
This is what Wendy and I do for fun. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here. Let us know what else you want to talk about, and we'll see you next time.
Make it a great day.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Wellness Made Easy with Wendy and Kirsten. If you want to learn more about us or anything we talked about today, check out the links in our show notes. We would love to know what you think of our podcast and what you want more of. So drop us a comment, send us a message, and help us out by leaving us a rating and a review. And don't forget to let us know your wellness win for this week. Thanks for listening. Make it a great day.